So after selling my business for £1, I came up with this crazy idea. Could I get a world record in the 3 F's of endurance? That's a world's first, a world's furthest, and a world's fastest. So the first F I went for was a world's fastest, and I decided to try and break the world record for cycling around the world. Things were going pretty well on that ride until about 23 days in. I'd done about 4,000 miles when unfortunately I was hit from behind by a careless driver driving 50 miles an hour and basically put my world record attempt out the water. I carried on a lot slower and arrived back in London, having cycled around the world, but I didn't get one of my 3 F's. After my failure of cycling around the world, I could have quite easily just given it all up and gone, well, I had my chance, didn't work out, let me go back to being a miserable photographer. But I thought, no, let me just really have another crack at something. So I thought of another world's fastest. I thought, could I be the fastest person to swim the length of Britain? Because surely it's been done. So I did my research and I found out that actually someone had swum it, and he had swum it in 9 days. I was like, what? 9 days? But then I did a bit more research and I found out that actually he had put a swimming pool on the back of a van and done lengths as they drove it, which is just brilliant. So anyway, that swim went from being a world's fastest to a world's first. So on the 30th of June 2013, I stood overlooking the Atlantic Ocean down at Land's End thinking, I have not thought this through at all. But I was super determined to make that swim happen, and for 135 days I battled up the west coast via Ireland and eventually arose at John O'Groats looking like a hairy Viking. So I'd now finished the first of my 3 F's, a world's first, so the second thing I decided to do was a world's furthest. So I came up with the idea of trying to get the world record for the longest triathlon ever. That triathlon took me 85 days with a 3,500 mile bike ride, 820 mile run, and 120 mile swim, self-supported swim as well, which has been, until recently, the world's longest self-supported swim ever. So now that I've completed 2 of the 3 F's, I had the third and final F, a world's fastest, and this one was tough. So in April 2018, I went back to Cabo da Roca to attempt the 4,000 mile bike ride across Europe, and finally got the third and final F, the world's fastest. So I've definitely grown as a person the most in the last 10 years. I've learned to be resilient, I've learned to be level-headed, I've learned to train really, really hard. And mostly, I've learned not to listen to the trolls on the internet, because I figured they're mostly just jealous.